to devices. So it's going to be actually probing and talking to these devices and getting information from their response. Passive, on the other hand, is more like we're listening to traffic that already exists and getting information from that traffic.
I mean, they've said they're recording, but I've never got actual like.
Nmap is a good example of an active discovery tool. Basically, what it's going to do is reach out and scan the networks and all the ports to determine what services are available on each host, and also determine what kind of device that is, which will come in handy as well. Again, not going to get into that because it's another presentation, but very useful. So GRASSMARLIN is an open source tool developed by NSA. They haven't really produced any new features or new code for it in years, possibly, ever. And so it's another passive discovery tool, similar to how Wireshark works. I think there's another presentation on Wireshark, so you'll kind of see how that works as well. But it's just listening on a box to what traffic is passing through, who the source is, who the destination is, and that sort of thing. But the biggest thing it does, it aids in the network visualization using all that information. It'll make like nodal graphs from these packet captures, which you can actually generate packet captures on Wireshark and just drop them into GRASSMARLIN for like a static analysis, as well as an active analysis where GRASSMARLIN will actually listen to packets going through. And you'll actually be able to see like regions or different locations and network groupings for each node on the graph. So it's pretty interesting, very useful for network discovery and analysis. It'll also identify who made that device, and the geographic location is in like the country of that device in the network based on the IP address. Different countries get different leading IP octets. So one of the other main things it does, in addition to visualizing nodes on a network, is it can identify nodes in a network that are part of an ICS or SCADA system based on some of the protocols that get exchanged. I know Billy talked a lot about Modbus. Modbus is one of those SCADA specific protocols that can be fingerprinted to show nodes that are SCADA systems. There we go. So I've kind of gone over the key features briefly and what it was designed to do. So we can do live packet capturing and graphing. We can do static as well. It'll identify for you what an ICS SCADA device looks like. We can also analyze traffic going in between nodes in this tool as well. So it'll kind of graph, you know, when were the packets at the highest volume or the highest size, stuff like that. You can actually change how you fingerprint. So it doesn't, by default, it kind of fingerprints everything, every possible SCADA thing, but you can change exactly how that fingerprint works or what comprises of any particular fingerprint. So for Modbus, like I could change what the characteristics of a Modbus packet would look like. You can also write your own plugins with Java, which is some pretty interesting stuff. It's pretty seamless, I would say. The hardest part is actually getting GRASSMARLIN to compile on its own, which is like more in the dependency situation there. But you basically just drop in your Java plugin to a specific directory and you're good to go. All right, so I got a little video here of the live packet capturing. We'll see this as well in the demo. But yeah, so here we go. I just started a packet capture and we are just catching all this traffic. You'll notice that I'm pulling out all of these individual packets that are in their own networks. They don't really have enough to be grouped with other things yet. Whereas you can see these little 10.60s. I think I'm 10.68 in this visualization. And then you can see this little 52 grouping here. I just dragged one around, the 65, 242, 55, 7. That one has a much thicker line than the other ones. And you might ask, well, why is that? And that's because there is more traffic going between my device and that device. So you can change the thickness of the lines by the volume of the traffic, which is pretty neat. Here we go. So this is sort of what happened after I let that live capture run for a little while. I happened to pick up a PLC device here, this 142.250.80.42 device. It's in America, so you can see the little American flag there. And we've got this transmission line tower, and that is going to identify what a SCADA device is. So based on whatever filters I had on at this time, this matched some of those filters, got caught, and then it assigned that visualization to it. This is the frame analysis of that device that I just pointed out to you. I was curious about what it was, so I did a quick little Nmap on it, and you can see that little grouping of dots there at the end. That was me Nmapping it. So downside to active is that you create a lot of traffic, and you can analyze that traffic. As a defensive security engineer, you can see clearly that there's quite a lot of communication going on between this node and my node. So that would be unwanted. This is the fingerprint editor here, so you can go in and change very specific parts of the packet that you're keying off of. In this case, we're changing like the Ethernet IP packet. So you can get really into the weeds. You can, I think you can add your own. You can also change and turn off and on different ones. So we'll just jump into the demo real quick. Stop sharing here. Do we have any questions about the slideshow so that I can see if I can address them specifically in this demo?
Good afternoon, everyone. If you have a question, please put it in the chat or feel free to come off of mute and ask Kayla directly. We've got a quiet crew this afternoon.
All right. We'll go ahead and share my GRASSMARLIN window. All right. I recommend not using a trackpad when messing with GRASSMARLIN. Use a mouse. So this is just a static capture that I had from the other day. You can see we've got like this little network devices here. You can sort them. However, right now they're sorted by network. We can go ahead and we can do things like group them by, let's go with operating system. And it just changed all the grouping there. It doesn't do this automatically, but you go ahead and you can run layout, and then you've got everything much prettier, much more organized. So if we look into these, not sure what these are going to be, but if we view the details on it, we can see that this is some Windows device. So all these guys are Windows devices that I have seen packets for. These guys are Cisco devices, which is pretty cool. You can also group by category. Go ahead and run layout again. To more Windows devices. Yep. Got a whole host of different operating systems. This one could be, but Windows is one of them. And then over here, we've got a couple of, what do we have? Well, they've all got these little transmission line symbols on them. And I can see that this is an ICS host of some sort. And it is from Rockwell Automation, it looks like. So I can investigate that further using this tool, just having passively captured some traffic from it. It's another one of those. This guy's a PLC. I think that's maybe similar to, if not the same device that I pointed out in the presentation. It's kind of neat. This tab here allows you to look at the physical mapping of some of the Cisco devices on your network if you are able to capture traffic of Cisco router commands. So I don't think I caught any of those commands, even though I have Cisco devices. Unfortunately, that's not going to show anything here, but that could be useful for tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Sam was saying you can export a table, cam table, and bring that in, and that'll also display your Cisco gear there. I can go ahead and start this live capture, and then things will start moving around. I'll go ahead and group these things by network again, and then run layout so they don't look so messy. And then hopefully things will start showing up. Here's the Fingerprint Manager I mentioned earlier. So I can go in here. And if I know that something uses this EGD, I can change what the destination port or the source port is, if that would be different based on my expectations. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a pop-up window. Could anybody see that window?
See the pop-up window.
Nope, can't see the window.
Oh, okay. The other window. Nope.
Yeah, not that one.
That one?
No.
Got that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah, so we can like turn all these off, disable specific ones, like I was saying. Let's do a frame analysis on one of the PLCs. Layout. Few frames. This is the traffic over time that I'm seeing, and the PCAP from whence it came. All sorts of juicy data. Here's where you can access some of your plugins. I don't have any loaded right now. This is a fresh install. Cool. Here's where you can pick PCAPs from other like Wireshark captures. Some of these are Wireshark captures that I performed. This is a particularly big one. So if I import that, no, not this one. Yeah, here's your import. So these are all live captures. I believe I have some stored away. Where'd we go? Yeah. No. Cool. All right, any questions while I'm still in GRASSMARLIN? Do we need to install this tool for tomorrow's CTF? I think it would be very useful to have. I think in the previous presentation, you could see some Cisco gear, so that would be pretty useful. It's mostly discovery tools, so if you have packet captures from something that would contain lots of SCADA devices, this would be an extremely useful way for you to visualize it. It doesn't do as much advanced stuff. It's more for a user to understand what's going on and to draw your own heuristics from it. Oh, into like a CSV. These guys. Oh, these guys. I think I just zoomed in on them. Okay, yeah, I see. Open in Wireshark. Yeah, okay. So this opens one particular packet in Wireshark.
So it's whatever you filter it in. You filter it down to one packet. That's what you get. It's kind of a cool way of getting in there. And
Yeah.
working your way around it.
Do you have any suggested reading or trainings to dig more into this tool? I had never seen it before, so this has been great.
Thank you. I'm not sure. Yeah. So one of its dependencies is also a dependency of Wireshark. So I think definitely by design, this tool is very much intertwined with Wireshark, and it's sort of to be used in tandem with it in some cases. Yeah, it's not working how I would expect it to. It's just opening the PCAP, which could be useful. Yeah, that's weird. Okay. Cool. So let's go back to the presentation real quick. Just did the questions. There's more. Here's sort of what you need to install it. You need this very specific version of JDK. You at least need WinPCAP, which I believe comes with Wireshark and Nmap. And here's the GitHub link to it. They have a lot of useful stuff there. I recommend definitely going through some of their documentation as well. It'll get more into like the Cisco gear. They've got a user guide that's very, very helpful. Yeah. It's kind of their user guide was even more overarching than the presentation I've given you. So I guess it's helpful if you're just looking for a brief overview, but you can see some of the stuff they do there with the Cisco. All right. So we'll just cover it. Yeah, I think it only works on IP-based systems. Yeah, I don't think it gets any serial communications or anything like that. All right. Well, that's all I've got for you guys today. Definitely a little shorter, but it's a very straightforward nodal graphing tool. I would invite you to maybe take this time to install it, especially since it looks like we might be using some of the Cisco stuff tomorrow. Just kind of familiarize yourself with it, take some PCAPs while you're in it. If you don't already have Wireshark, I would recommend you wait till after the Wireshark presentation before installing all this, but feel free to email me. I'll put my email here in the chat if you have any questions while you're installing it. Cool. You are so welcome.
Okay, are there any additional questions or? Okay, anything else from you, Kayla?
No, I mean, I would like to just take any, I would like to put myself out there. If you need any help installing it or getting started with GRASSMARLIN, definitely hit me up. It can be kind of confusing. I tried to kind of steer you guys in the right direction. Definitely go with the MSI over almost anything else on there. You're gonna run into some trouble.
Okay, thank you. All right, everyone, if there are no additional questions, this will conclude the training session for today. We'll see everybody back at 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.